Dinosaur or dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were reptiles. They evolved into the most varied kinds of all living creatures. They ranged from the teeny bird-like animal to monstrous beasts. They were the largest animal ever to live on land. The dinosaurs survived for about 150 million years. They were not only meat-eating killers familiar from the films and books. Either were the most of land genetic creatures. Gigantic creatures. In fact, most dinosaurs were peaceful, browsing animals about the size of the modern front lobster. What do we know about how dinosaurs' body worked? Although dinosaur remains are few, we know or can deduce quite a lot from their fossilized skeletons. For example, we can calculate a dinosaur's weight by studying its bones. Heavy animals has massive bones to support their weight, while the sweeping moving hunter usually have a very light, hollow bones. Muscles are firmly attached to bones, and although no trace of the muscle remains in fossil, the attachment points can be seen on the bones. This tells scientists how big the muscles must have been. We know that the body digestive systems necessary to digest the vegetable matter. The herbivore would have had massive spiral-shaped bodies, while carnivores will be smaller. The shape of the teeth tells us what type of food the dinosaur ate. What did the dinosaur become so successful? The main thing that distinguishes dinosaurs from the other reptiles is the way their body is supported by their legs. The legs of the ancient and existing reptiles stick out sideways, so the body drops on the ground for most of the time. It rises preferring when the animal runs. This is very obvious with the crocodiles, which can run very fast for a short distance. The skeletons of dinosaurs, however, developed so that the legs were beneath the body, raising the whole body off the ground. This is allowed them to stay errated and to talk and run with long strides. This development of predators can run faster than more primitive reptiles, which soon become extinct. Were dinosaurs stupid? How do you measure the intelligence of an extinct animal? What we can say is that the intelligence of dinosaurs must have been sufficient for their way of life, otherwise they would not have survived it for millions of years. Some plant-eating dinosaurs certainly had very small brains in proportion to their size. However, a large brain is not important in an animal that is too amorous to be attacked and has little to think about apart from grazing. On the other hand, some of the predatory dinosaurs had quite large brains, pursuable because they needed to think quickly as they pursued their prey. In comparison to their size, the brain of the smallest dinosaur predator was the biggest because they need to be agile and move fast. How do we know how dinosaurs moved? We can reconstruct the shape of the hobbits, the dinosaur from the remains. Dinosaurs also left behind other evidence in the form of their footprints. These are imprints in mud. There were imprints in mud that were later covered by flowed waters, and become fertilized. Some of dinosaur footprints give us a good idea about how this animal lived and moved. By measuring the distance between each footprint, we can measure the street of the animal, and from this we can calculate how fast the dinosaur moved. Footprints also show that dinosaurs sometimes move in herds or small family groups, and they can show evidence of dinosaurs being hunted by the predator. How many different kinds of dinosaurs were there? There were thousands of different species of dinosaurs, and we had discovered only a small portion of this. This is important to realize how rare fossils are. A few dinosaur species must have been very common. For example, the iguanodons. Iguanodons, which left many fossils. Others were probably scarce while they were alive or in the region where fertilization were likely, and so there are few remains of these dinosaurs. Herbivores have often lived in groups or herds, but carnivores were usually more solitary, and their fossils are therefore more rare. Many of those interesting dinosaurs are known from single fossils, and sometimes from just one or two bones. Paleontologists must deduce the shape and the size of the animal from these few remains.